want you to open in your language arts notebook to your grammar section, please. Grammar section. Now, instead of adding to our vocabulary, we are going to go a few pages after our vocab, and we're going to take just a little bit of notes. It's not going to be a lot. It's just we're talking about titling works, and that could be like a song title, a movie title, a book title, and we want some examples written down. So you are opening up in your language arts notebook to your grammar section, and you're going to go a few pages after your vocab. You are going to title this page 8.7 Titles of Works.
We should even pretty much working on it for the titles.
Exactly, exactly.
Wait, can we go like a few pages?
A few pages after your vocab.
I'm going to go through. I have this written down.
Yeah, go ahead. Yep.
Did I miss something yesterday?
No, you didn't.
We didn't even do this yesterday. We just wrote down our spelling words.
Yes, Will. Oh, yes, go ahead. Yeah, you can go ahead. All right. So, 8.7 Titles of Works. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about how we title, or how we capitalize and use punctuation when it comes to like song titles, book titles, movie titles, that kind of stuff. So, the first thing we're going to write down, we're going to talk about a book title. I'm going to use green. So, we're going to kind of do a bulleted list. So first, book titles.
You forgot the date in your title.
Oh my gosh, I did forget it. You're right. It is the 6th today. Sorry about that. Thank you, Chanel, for reminding me. Book titles.
No, don't come out.
My virtual learners, I'll move the camera here in a second so you can see. Book titles. Now, for book titles, usually the title of the book, I would say, is underlined. That's how I normally see it. And then we capitalize the important words in it. Now, usually with book titles, the first word is capitalized. So even if it's the word the, it doesn't seem like an important word, but we would capitalize it. So if we have a book titled The War of the Worlds, you'll notice the first letter is capitalized of the first word. And then any important words. So words like and, the, and, to, in, of, and from. Frankie, turn around. They usually are not capitalized unless at the beginning of the title. So you'll notice this of and this the, we didn't capitalize. And like I said, it is usually underlined. So we're going to underline the book title.
Wait, no, the first was actually capitalized.
Because it's a first word. That's the only time one of those words is capitalized, is usually if it's at the beginning.
Wait, do we have to underline
Yes,
it?
you have to underline it. So when you write the title of a book, you are underlining it. And then if we want to write the author, then we'd write by. We don't need a colon. H.G. Wells.
H.G. Wells.
Not related to Mrs. Wells. That's his actual, that's an actual book, and that is an actual author.
Oh.
Okay, so book titles. The War of the Worlds, oops, by H.G. Wells. And you'll notice that the first the is capitalized, and that is because it's the beginning of the book title. But then later on, the of and the we don't capitalize because they're kind of those unimportant words, okay?
Wait, is this book a real one?
Yes, it is. So that's a book title. Then, if we have, let's do, another popular one would be a song title. So it's song titles. It's a little different from book titles. So song titles. Song titles, we put quotation marks around the name of the song, okay? So, for example, if we have the song Celebration, again, you're capitalizing the important words. Now, this song is only one word, so you capitalize celebration. And then we put quotation marks around it. And then just like with the author of a book, the artist who wrote the song, we put by, and we don't need a colon, which is 2 dots. Do not underline it. No, just the quotation marks. And then you capitalize, you know, the group's name. Cool. This is an actual song in an actual group. Yosius, go ahead. So for song titles, Gang, G-A-N-G. Celebration would have quotation marks around it because it's the title of the song. Then we'd have whoever wrote or sang the song by Kool and the Gang. All right, then the next one, movie titles. Movie titles. All right. So movie titles are similar to books. We underline them. Now the difference, and I want eyes on me for a second. If you're typing movie titles or book titles, sometimes what people will do instead of underlining is italicize them. And you know, that's when like the font is like slanted, right? So if you're typing, you can do either. You can underline or italicize, okay? But when you're writing, it's kind of hard to write all of your words slanted. So we show that it's a title of a book or a movie by underlining it, okay? What?
Can we slant them?
I suppose if you want to. So, for example, The Wizard of Oz. And we would underline it since we're handwriting it. So if you ever see that someone has like typed a book title or a movie title and they didn't underline it but it's italicized, that's okay. So since we're handwriting, movie title is underlined. The Wizard of Oz. Yes, Max?
I think the author of the War of the Worlds is related to this.
No, we already talked about that. No, he's not.
Darn it, I was literally. And these are real books.
Okay, so then a play. How many of you have gone and seen a play before? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, so next if we have a play, they usually do. It's similar. So if we're handwriting a play, we're underlining it. So if the play is Peter Pan.
We've already seen it.
Yeah. We would underline it since we're handwriting it. But again, if someone was typing this, they could italicize instead. And then we'd write who the screenwriter or the playwright, sorry, by. We don't put a colon.
Wait, but we didn't write the author for the 3.
For movie titles, you don't need to write an author
yeah,
because it's a team who does it. Yep.
Well, then who's the director?
You don't need to put the director.
You can. The director is Peter Pan. I thought it was called Disney.
Yep. A little different from Frankie's last name. But J.M. Barrie is the playwright for Peter Pan. He wrote that play.
It's just not like Barry's name.
Yeah.
Just
Ooh, magazine title. How many of you have magazines you read at home?
Nope.
Or you've seen a magazine before and you've read a little bit of it?
We actually have a magazine that we read in class.
Yeah, we have our social studies magazine. So, magazine, and And let me
I got it right.
bring this over so that they can see the play. So plays we also underline, or if you're typing, you can italicize. Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie.
It's like a movie.
All right, so magazines like National Geographic.
Oh yeah, that's
Vogue.
Usually, if you're typing, you would italicize. So what do we do when we are writing?
underline.
We underline. Yep. So we would underline National Geographic.
What about the name of the brand?
The name of the brand, you write it just the way that they do. Okay, so like Nike, you'd write it just like they do. Okay.
Wait, who was National Geographic?
Then,
Wait.
let's see, what haven't we done? Oh, poems. Yep.
Well, that's kind of like a book.
It is actually more like a song title, the way that we punctuate it. Go ahead. So, a poem title.
I don't need when the sidewalk ends. That's a book of poems.
That's, yeah,
Sidewalk ends. Yeah. And then.
poem title. It's both.
Would it be titles?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Poem titles.
Look, when the sidewalk ends, please. When the sidewalk ends. Yes. Oh. When the sidewalk ends. I can't remember specifically what his name is. Silverstein.
Shel Silverstein. So if we have when, is it when or where the sidewalk ends?
Where?
It's where, isn't it?
Where the sidewalk ends, yeah.
Where? I did when, sorry. My bad. Where? Just like with a song title, for poems, we add quotation marks around the title. So, Where the Sidewalk Ends by Shel Silverstein. Since the name of the poem is Where the Sidewalk Ends, we would put quotation marks around it. And then Shel Silverstein's the author, so we'd write by Shel Silverstein, but we don't need a colon. We don't need 2 dots. We can just write by Shel Silverstein. Hello.
So what are we doing for the whole?
So they are going to be giving you titles, and they'll tell you what kind of title it is, and then you are capitalizing and putting either like underlining or quotation marks around it the way that you're supposed to. Okay? You guys have a good time with sister. So my virtual learners, poem titles, Where the Sidewalk Ends is a poem title, so you can see I added quotation marks. And then the author by Shel Silverstein. But we don't need 2 dots. We don't need a colon for the author. Let's see. Oh, I have 2 more to add. Artworks, because they a lot of artists will title their artworks, and then a sacred book title and an article. Sorry, I lied. I have 3. I have 3.
Isn't article like the Bible? English.
It's like within a magazine.
Wait.
So a magazine is underlined. An article in a magazine is a little different.
An article, I think.
I'm waiting for voices to be off. We have 3 more to add. The first one, an artwork title. So the title of an artwork. So artwork titles.
Wait, artwork.
Artwork titles. So, for example, guess what?
Isn't National Geographic more like a food shop?
That's the magazine. They have a magazine.
It's like a company.
Yeah. So they have a National Geographic magazine. All right. So for artwork title, Evening Star. When you type that, you would italicize it. So for writing it, what do we do to it? We underline it. So Evening Star, we would underline. And it's by an artist named Georgia O'Keeffe.
Georgia, okay. What do you spell evening?
My cousin's name is Georgia.
E-V-E-N-I-N-G.
How does she spell? Oh.
My cousin's name is Georgia, and she's 3 years old.
It
Well, that's
sounded
cool.
like your cousin.
Georgia O'Keeffe. So for artwork titles, again, if we're typing it, we're italicizing. If we're writing it in person, we are underlining it. Evening Star by Georgia O'Keeffe. We have 2 more, then we'll be done.
Yay.
Nice
Wait,
job.
what was the
Keeffe.
first one?
Wait, isn't the second
No,
one?
no, on the
Sacred?
Sacred book title, and then an article, short story, or essay. Sacred book title.
Sacred.
The Bible.
I'm scared.
Sacred book title.
Bible.
Easy.
All that you do for a sacred book title is you capitalize it, but you do not underline or put quotation marks. So Bible.
Oh, Bible.
The ground is shaking. Yeah.
You guys, you're fine. We don't. It's they're working on stuff outside. So the Bible is a sacred text. The
Holy words of the Bible. New Testament, Old Testament.
Torah is one.
When Dixie.
The Torah would be another one.
Wouldn't I forgot what it was called,
And
but
the Quran would be one too.
What are those?
They are sacred texts of other religions.
Oh.
So the Bible, Torah, or Quran, you would just write it and capitalize it. Okay?
They're the Bible for other religions.
Yeah, they're basically like the Bible for other religions. So a sacred book title,
since there's multiple,
you just capitalize it. You do not underline it. You do not put quotation marks around it. Allah, I believe. Then, last one, article / short story / essay. They're all kind of the same thing. So like an article within a magazine, you know, most magazines have different articles inside them. So what we're about to write down, that's what you'd use for those. A short story, like when I was in college, we would write short stories in our creative writing class. So if anyone was talking about my short story or reviewing it, they would do what we're about to with the title of mine. And then an essay, like a formal paper, you would also do this with.
you would never make
So,
an essay, would you?
you would,
She would.
if there was a short story, article, or essay titled, There is Life, oops, that's a capital L, Life on Mars, we would put quotation marks around it.
Wait, there's an article that says there's life on Mars.
If someone were to write an essay titled that. That's how you would write the title. Yep. There is life on Mars. And so, again, we are capitalizing the important words, there, life, and Mars. But those smaller words like is and on, we do not need to capitalize. But we are putting quotation marks around the entire title. That was our last one. So, you might be like, Miss E, why did you have us write this all down? Because for your homework, they're going to be going over all of these. So I want you to make sure that you have this written down as notes. So then when you are working on your EPV, you can turn back to this. So what I would like you to do is pick one of these that you know a title for. So if you have like a favorite movie or a favorite play or magazine or poem, song title, book title, artwork, sacred book, article, short story, or essay, you're going to pick one. And you're going to pick the title of one that I don't already have up here. And I want you to think about how you would write that title using either, you know, underlining or quotation marks, whatever we did up here. And then we will be turning and sharing. So when you are ready, you have whatever title it is and you know how you would abbreviate and capitalize it, put a thumbs up on your desk when you're ready. Yes, Chanel?
Like, you know how for movie titles and play titles, we underline it? What if it was like a TV show?
A TV show, I'm pretty sure you also underline, but I will double check on that one, okay? Yeah. some reason, I want to say underline, but I'm not 100% sure. So don't pick a TV show for now, okay? Thumbs up when you got one. Max, feet down, please. Okay. Thumbs up when you got one. Waiting for a few more thumbs from people. Yes, Frankie.
What if your TV show is also a movie, like a TV show and a movie?
So, if they're both, if you underline both of them, then you would underline, you know, whatever it is. I will double check again. But if, like, for a TV show you put quotation marks around it, then maybe that's how you can tell the difference. So I will double check to see what that is. All right, when I say go, you will turn and share what it is you're talking about, because the person you're talking about or talking to needs to know what it is. And then you're going to tell them what the title is, but do not tell them how you are, like, capitalizing it or punctuating it. It is up to the person you're telling it to do that. Okay, so you need to pay attention to what kind of title your partner's telling you, and then you're going to tell them how they should capitalize and punctuate it. So go ahead, turn and talk. So I just looked up what we do for TV shows. It sounds like the TV show itself, you usually underline or put in italics, but if you're talking about a specific episode, then you use quotation marks. So, like, if it's an episode of the TV show Friends, for example, Friends, I think, would be underlined or italicized, but then if you're talking about the specific episode, like the one where Joey misses the plane or something like that, that would be in quotation marks. Now, there's some kind of disagreeing of that on the internet, so some people believe it's one way, other half believe it's another way, but I think you would italicize or underline the show title itself, okay? All right, here's what we're going to do. I would like you to, in your EPB, open up to page 112. 112 in your EPB. Yeah. Here's 112. Titles of works. Ready to rock? Ready to rock? All right, let's look at this together. So for page 1 through 7, they're asking you to write yes or no to tell whether each sentence is correct. And what they're asking is, did they title the work correctly? So for, like, number 1, it says, my dad subscribes to Time magazine. Well, we know that Time is a magazine because it says so in the sentence. So we would think, okay, well, a magazine is underlined, or when it's typed, we italicize, right? So is number 1 correct?
No, because first, the magazine isn't capitalized.
Is number 1 correct?
Yes.
Yes, because Time, that is the title of the magazine. And when we write it, we would underline it. But since they typed it, it's italicized. So anything that we underlined in our notes, when it's typed, they can italicize it, and that works. Okay? So keeping that in mind. So a book title, a movie title, a play title, magazine title, or artwork title, if it's italicized when someone typed it in your book, that would work. Do we have questions on number 1 through 7? You have a question on number 1 through 7, Philip?
So what if we don't know, like, what this, like, I have no idea what Sound of Music is. Is it a song or is it a movie?
That's a movie.
Oh, okay.
Number 2 is a movie. Number 3 is an article. Number 4 is a poem. Number 5 is a book. Number 6 is an artwork. And number 7 is a play. Then for 8 through 15, they're asking you to rewrite each title correctly using capital letters and underlining where needed. So since you guys will be writing it yourself, if you need to underline it, underline it. Don't try and slant it to make it italics. That's hard. So 8 through 15, you're rewriting each title correctly. So you can see in parentheses, they tell you what kind of work it is. So you know exactly how you should be writing those titles. Okay, so like number 8, it's a magazine. Number 9 is an article, and so on and so forth. Yes, yes.
Can you leave that on the board?
Yep, and you should have written it down in your notes, right?
Yeah.
So you have your notebook to look back into as well. And then finally, 16, 17, and 18, they want you to write a sentence that includes a title for each topic. So like number 16, your favorite movie, you'd write a sentence with the title of your favorite movie in it, and you would capitalize and abbreviate or whatever, underline the title of the movie the way that you're supposed to. Are there questions on number 16, 17, or 18? All right, are there questions at all on the CPB page? Okay, I think it will be the best use of our time to give you some work time for your EPB. So I'm going to turn on some work music, and for the next 5-ish minutes, we are going to work on this. Capiche? Go ahead.